Hello YouTube, because of popular demand I've decided to release the first session as well. It is random versus Hatrixx, random on Ornn, Hatrixx on Taliyah. If you enjoyed the session, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can check out the second VOD I did with him, you will see a link on the screen now. If you enjoyed the session, don't forget to check out my Patreon where you can see more things regarding the game and coaching, and anything that you think is relevant will be on the Patreon. Alright, enjoy watching. Okay. I think we start with this one. This is Taliyah matchup. New Taliyah matchup, of course. Mainly looking at what he will be doing and also his opponent, of course, in lane to min-max everything that is possible. And general thought process of how to think when you lane. And also, of course, in this video, of course it's because it's coming on Patreon. If I start pausing and stuff, it's because I'm answering questions. Because there's going to be relevant questions that I will answer. So, Taliyah this game. I mean, this means that you obviously will not be able to have prio for majority of the matchup until you become an immovable object that just can't die and generally has no issues into Taliyah. Taliyah on this patch doesn't really have damage early on, but she can of course get push, and the enemy team should use this push to obviously do something with the volley. Their comp doesn't make like a whole lot of sense. I'm not sure what they are trying to do. But you still have mid prio and jungle that can invade. So that's probably what they're gonna look for, because they can't really play through any lanes. They can't gank top, they can't gank mid, they also cannot gank bot lane. So they're most likely just gonna look to invade with the mid prio, I would say. Should be the option, because obviously if we go even in full clear and Gwen just gets all her camps, she will naturally be a way better champion. So they should try to interrupt her in her clear. And the best way to do that would be through mid push. That's what I would expect them to do, at least. So Taliyah should be trying to slow push 1-2, crash 3, in my opinion, for this to happen. I don't see how GP gets prio into Siri, but Siri is obviously weak early on. And bot lane also won't have prio, so it will be a bit hard to invade, and it probably also will not, like, it will stop them from doing it. But if Taliyah can't like use her prio for anything, then Ornn is just chilling out of his mind. He will not have any issues in this lane, and he should just look to set up the CS. That's all he should really be aiming to do. If he can set up the CS and he can get to a spot in the lane where he's immovable, then he will be winning, in my opinion, always. So you go refill and then you will go down shield, right? Which, yeah, is for sure the right thing to do. Because you don't need like down shield or anything early on. So there's no reason in sitting on one potion and spending gold on potions when you don't have to. Like, Random is one of those players that listen to all, like, he listens to everyone that he thinks has like valid opinions, right? So he doesn't spend gold on pink wards that isn't needed. He doesn't spend gold on potions that isn't needed, and he generally thinks about the game differently than a lot of pro players that I know. And this is also why I like him so much. It's yeah, so you what is the reason not to start top lane? If you can't say, I'm assuming you can. Like, what is the reason not to start top? And then you will for sure have prio bot lane, right? And you can cover him if they try to invade, just to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if we get through early game, it's always going to be beneficial for us. Talking about Random's team, of course. Because there's a higher chance that they can invade top than bot, in my opinion. There's definitely a higher chance that they can invade top than they can invade bot. With like 3 campaigns to invade. So if you can full clear towards bot lane, like we're not looking to do anything proactive, so to say, right? Early game, that should be very like impossible for us to do. That should be very, very impossible for us to do. So we should just look to have the most stable defensive clear, and then eventually when we hit 6 on bot side we can potentially make plays. But we're not looking to do anything early. We give first Drake, we give first Herald most likely. That's definitely should be the play. And then eventually we will just outskill them and be better. On maybe second or third Drake we can fight. Third Drake most likely. So in my opinion you should always path towards bot here as Gwen. It's the best option for you. Because yeah, like Rakan also can't do anything in lane. I'm assuming you blind picked Rakan and then they picked Yuumi. So Rakan can't do anything in lane. But if you can just free him and you can make sure that you cover the invade, that should always be better. What about ward here? I mean, it's because you're defending it, but why not like here instead of here? Because then we obviously see like a little bit more. Because this one doesn't get spotted, right? I mean, it's a really, really small thing, but just want to point it out. Yeah, and he can't do much in lane. He just has to set up the CS because Taliyah dictates. I think it's a bit weird from Taliyah not to stand like a little bit further up in lane, but she does it now, so I guess it's okay. But like here, this is like, I don't see why you do that. Like he autos and then he walks back to drop aggro when essentially it doesn't matter. It's 3 minions that do nothing, and you just give the CS for free, like all the CS for free. I think this is something that a lot of players do bad. They try to play as passive as they can to not make mistakes in lane, if that makes sense. Even though like here you can't really make a mistake in lane, because it just gives the CS for fun. I think this is fine, like walking up for the auto is fine, like you don't have to step back though, because you give him all 3 CS for fun. Like you're dropping aggro on something that doesn't matter, and also you will be able to base when you want to base, if you set up the waves at least. Same thing, like level 2 here, of course, it's fine, but a lot of, yeah, doesn't really feel like you are under pressure at any sort of point. I saw like the first 5 minutes of this game live when I watched it, and yeah, you're never really under pressure, and they don't use mid prio for anything, because now he pushed the second wave, right? He pushed the second wave and then does nothing, like nothing at all. He goes and gets a ward here that changes absolutely nothing, because we still know that he's pathing to top side, and we just end up doing nothing with the push. We don't even have like roam timer. It's not like we can walk top and then like decel the Siri or anything, or just put pressure on him on the wave. And same for bot, like we can't do anything with the Taliyah. And if nothing happens, this is why, you know, in solo queue at least, they are very bad at coordinating and very bad at doing things that make sense, so you can get away with like scaling champions very, very easily. But in competitive play, it should be easier to set up, it should be easier to, I mean, it is easier, it is way easier to set up plays and set up what you want to do. And like Random can't do anything about it. He can't do anything about the wave state early on, so you should always try to make something proactive happen with the first 3 waves. If it's roam, sure. If it's just applying some sort of pressure to side lane to make it easier for GP and bot to play, great. If it's invade, better. But yeah, if we don't have top prio or bot prio, it's obviously a little bit harder. But yeah, he goes and gets a ward that doesn't change anything, and then Random is free to do whatever he wants. He's free to set up all the CS, and yeah, this, as I said, ward changes nothing. If you're not gonna use it for anything, what are you warding for? You're not gonna get ganked in mid. If you get ganked on mid, that would be weird with Gwen and Ornn, and also you're unable to like invade if you don't hold the pressure in mid. And after he does this, it becomes a lot harder to hold the push. But also you shove the wave too, right? So you kind of put yourself in this situation. And yeah, now Random can actually he can actually fight for the push now, which just should never be like a thing. He can actually fight for the push now in mid. And he also ends up getting it. Also ends up getting push on Taliyah as on level 4, fourth wave. And he's never under any sort of pressure. Right? Did you feel pressured at any moment, Random, in this game? In this lane as well? That just shouldn't be like a thing, that you don't feel any sort of pressure. But it's not about trading, by the way. Like, no one can kill each other. Like, no one can kill. Taliyah can't kill Ornn, Ornn can't kill Taliyah. Of course, it's gonna be easier for Taliyah if Ornn makes mistakes. But it's not about killing each other. It's not about trading. It's about understanding what you can do on the map as Taliyah, because you're never gonna kill mid. That's just not a thing. So you have to apply pressure on sides instead, and set up your waves for this. If you don't do that, then yeah, you're not really doing anything, because you can't kill mid. What do you think is better to level here? Like Q or W? Because it's range matchup and for the wave clear. I don't know, so I'm asking you. Because I believe Q is better, but I am not sure. So I think like 2 or 3 points in Q at least, and then W. Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense, obviously. That makes logical sense. Like, Q for poke, obviously, is a lot of damage, and W for wave clear makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking as well, like, Q is better here because, like, you don't need wave clear. She will naturally just give you. Like, at some point, you got through the hard stages of the game, and your team got through the hard stages of the game. So I would just say, like, at least 3 points Q and then W. Maybe just full on Q, because it actually hurts a lot on her. I mean, we are an even wave, and again, you have no... Like, you feel so little pressure from enemy that you are building tier. That's pretty funny. And again, you're able to get... Like, you're able to actually fight a little bit for the push. Because he's giving it. Which just shouldn't be a thing. But into a Sia, it's kinda not... Yeah, true. Like, he has so long range that you actually can't poke him, and W just makes a lot more sense. That's at least in my, like, how I view it. Yeah, any D-Mets? What about D-Met, actually? That one as well. What about D-Met over... Futures, for example, but I guess against someone who would play differently, I think it's D-Met is fine. No, I think it's fine. Yeah, you don't want to get a huge shoved wave into you, so I think D-Met on cannon is good here as well. And here's no mana. This is a bit weird as well, how you're just allowed to do this. And you force him to TP on you. I mean, the freezing is good. Just like, this is something I talk about a lot as well, right? If you have the option to force the enemy to react, and if he takes the bad reaction, you can obviously get a win over it. But you force him to think. You force the enemy mid laner to think. It's something I talk about a lot as well, and in general just other lanes as well. Because if he doesn't try to stop it, then yeah, he has to TP, and then you have TP advantage, and you forced him to make the reactionary TP. I don't think the TP is horrible, but it just shouldn't be a thing, right? It shouldn't be a thing that he is able to hold a freeze on you as Ornn into Taliyah. So that gets bad in terms of like you don't have, like he doesn't have TP advantage anymore, and the fact that he, like this lane stage just shouldn't be a thing in the first place. And you lost an entire wave on Taliyah basically. Even if you get push, it doesn't change anything. You know, that's the thing. It doesn't change anything. You get push, but then what? What are you gonna use it for? Are you gonna use it to move bot or mid? Okay, nice, but you're not gonna get anything. You hold the freeze and you try to make a play on the freeze. That's nice, obviously. Makes sense to freeze if you want to do something on it. And this is the play where your your support didn't know what happened with the wave or with Taliyah. I remember seeing this. Bot lane dies on slow push, or what? Bot lane dies on slow push. Gooby, you noob. Oh my god, Gooby, you are noob. Yeah, and we obviously want to base now, eventually. But he's not pressuring you at all. I also think him buying pink ward is fine here, as long as he uses it on site to force numbers. Because again, like you can't kill mid. Yeah, and then you base. I think it's the right thing to do, obviously. Okay, and you just adjust the wave and you cancel. I mean, again, like you don't have to base right now. It is not essential. You already have, like again, he can't do anything on the map that you would be able to interrupt anyways. So it's not like you absolutely have to base. You do farm well though. Like look at his damage. But you do farm really well. You set up the CS really well. On the space, I think you should just buy Rupee and then sit on the gold and get null when you have it. Don't think you need triple Rupee. I think it's too overkill, and also like you're playing against Volley and Taliyah, so the null is pretty nice. Yeah, and now we reach this point where, no matter what happens now, Ornn is immovable. It is freestyle purchase. Yeah, I mean you have it here, you know. 1 minion and you get null. You can just take this 1 minion here, and then insta buy. Unless you will lose a minion, of course, but it doesn't look like it. So yeah, just take this minion, buy null, boom. Because basically double AP mid jungle, right? And you are unkillable. Like when you sit on 1 null, you're unkillable this game. I think the Rupee is good. The first Rupee is good, because buying null this early doesn't make any sense. So double Rupee then null. Yeah, and you're immovable now. She actually cannot do anything anymore. And yeah, you can even look to solo kill her if she doesn't respect. As long as we have, obviously we don't want to look for the solo kill alone. That doesn't make any sense to do. If there's 5% chance that Volley's here, you should never flip it. I'm assuming you called for Gwen, or at least tell him earlier. I'm not gonna put voice on, but I'm assuming you called him and say like we can go mid, we can kill. Guess we should. For sure, he's not able to like play anymore. When you get double Ruby null, it's over. When you have 3 rubies, it's still over. We should try to fight. We should try to fight for prio. Of course he didn't call for it. Yeah, you should call for it. Like, why else would you take Ignite? Don't try to solo kill. If there's a 5% chance that you can die here, we don't go for it. That is just unnecessary. But like, again, it's good. Like, Random is the type of person that plays solo queue like he plays competitive. 0% chance that I die. I mean, if you call it. I mean, there's honestly 0% chance that you die in this, but I think Vali Taliyah, they just have no damage combined. But still, you should call it when you know that you're gonna go. You know that you're gonna go when you have Ignite. When you swap to Ignite, you know you're gonna go. And you should always call for it. But there can be other situations where you won't, where you can die. And looking for the solo kill just isn't worth it. And that's mainly what I'm trying to tell you, because of course here you can't die. You are immovable at this point when we get triple ruby. Or just double ruby null. You are immovable, so we should aim to push mid lane now. We should aim to push him down, because he can't do anything anymore. He actually cannot do anything in the lane anymore. So you can do whatever you want. You're taking control because of better laning. And also just the matchup in general isn't as, like, the matchup isn't good, but he's able to push and he's able to provide tools for the side lanes, and that's obviously what he should be aiming for. But he isn't doing anything. Just like, I wouldn't call that on him, but I would say like the team in general just had a horrible plan of how to execute this game. Enemy team, not you. You just have to play defensive and set up defensively. But yeah, matchup is over, and this is why Random is 16 CS ahead in Taliyah matchup. If Taliyah has done nothing on the map when he should. But I will keep watching. Just want to see. And yeah, he hasn't even used first strike or anything. Like, this was horrible. This was really poor. The first 4 waves from Taliyah was played horribly. Really, really poor. And as I said before, like, Random cannot choose what happens with the wave. That's just not possible. So he has to adapt, and his team has to adapt to the fact that they don't have push. And the fact that they went sub, in my opinion, is wrong. They should have path to bot and played around it in that way. But yeah, the first 4 waves was played horribly. Yeah, we watched this one as well. This is against Koi. Yeah, Taliyah should. They should, when they know that he is starting bot, they should, in my opinion, slow push 1, slow push 2, crash 3, and try to invade him. If they can't invade him, then they try to go top. They don't even have to hard commit to the top play. But yeah, he isn't doing anything. Yeah, the first 4 or 5 waves was played horribly. Like, I can't explain how bad it was played. It was really, really, really bad from other team. Yeah, and he's immovable now. We came to this state where he's immovable in mid. He actually cannot be moved. Yeah, and at this point again, like, you also stunt your build a bit, because now you have to go balmy because of you sitting on double ruby, and you can't get a null. But yeah, you can obviously get it in lane as you get there, but yeah, you're forced to go balmy here. Okay, 1 sec. I just have to let the cat in. But yeah, again, like, he's immovable. Nothing you can do now in mid as Taliyah. Yeah, and what happened is also what should happen. Like we give first Drake, we give first Herald, and then eventually we reach a break point where we can just poop on them. They have very limited damage. And I'm not sure about Ciri into GP later stages. I would assume that Ciri wins. But if GP has crit, it could go either way, I would say. But I am not 100% sure about how this matchup plays inside. Yeah, Tia is really, really bad. It is really, really bad. It's the same with Malphite. Like, it's an item that is in the game just to be in the game. It actually doesn't change much, you know. I would much rather have you sit on first item spike faster than I would go tier. From Mohammed's POV, Ciri wins as soon as you are not face checking full combo with barrels. Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? I think if you face check the crit GP, you're gonna get one shot, but as long as you don't face check, you should win. You should always just win and out-kite him. Oh yeah, and obviously you don't have Ignite anymore, so solo bowling mid is not really possible, and your job is just to clear and scale. So, a bit weird of you to walk up here for fun. Because you are just walking up for fun. You're not walking up to set up minions or kill minions. And then you just all refill, and he should try to push his advantage on you. I don't think he should E here, but I think he should Q to stop you from getting cannon for free. Because now they can play Drake, and they should get Drake for free. At this spot. He should also not base. I think that is weird. Just try to get you as low as possible for the Drake. And they play Drake. Please tell me they get second Drake. Okay, they use Herald on bot. And you move mid. I mean, this is good response, right? This is really, really good response. Jinx is dead. I don't know why Jinx is dead. Okay. Jinx is dead for fun. So you push mid, you get the Rakan mid to push mid, and then you base. And they should be setting up the Drake. They should be getting the Drake already on your base timer. They don't. They kill Jinx. And they place Herald bot, and you get mid lane. I mean, this is just textbook, right? This is really nice. Like, when you die bot, obviously we should try to make a play on the other side and try to trade. And this is the best thing you can do. So good reaction from you guys. But of course, we shouldn't be in this reaction in the first place. Yeah, they get, if you can get the first Drake out of three, not the first Drake, but you can get one out of the first three Drakes, you should win. You should just win the game. If you play it slowly. So, yeah. This is really bad from enemy team. Really, really bad. And it comes out of mid mistake. Like, this is horrible. Giving one of, like, you can't win if we reach, if we can slow down the Drake soul, and that should be the way that they win the game. Yeah, and Mountain as well. But yeah, I don't see how they play now. They have to just put as many resources into the Trist, not into the Trist, into the Ezreal as possible. He's the only one that can realistically like carry this game. Like, they still have Ezreal Yumi, even though there's an on front line, they still can do things in the game, but you reach the first Drake, so yeah, nothing really happens anymore in lane. Now you just win, right? After you get first or second Drake. As long as you get one of the first three Drakes, you should win. Yeah, okay. I said I would only go over lane. Do you want me to go over the entire game of all 3 games or only lane? I can do both. It's fine. I have the time today. Because yeah, nothing should realistically happen for you to lose this game now. Even though the map state isn't the best, definitely isn't the best. Wait, do you have bot tower or not? You don't, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will do both. I will do both. We can give the next Drake, it's fine. We don't have to fight. If you get a pick, we can fight. I think it's completely fine to look for a pick, but if we don't get it, we just stop it there. Okay, that was a bit crazy from you, Mr. Myron. It's a bit crazy. But yeah, you should show up to the Drake, and if they stack in the pit, that would be your best option of fighting. Like the thing with Drakes as well, you have to understand, is that you don't always have to kill it, you know? You don't have to use it for like stacking the Drake. You can also use this, like the Drake, for you to get to a position where you can fight. And like to be a better team, you have to understand this as well, because a lot of teams think, you know, if we take the Drake, or either we take the Drake or we always trade, like top or something else. But you can use the Drake positioning to fight as well, because if they lock themselves in the pit, you should naturally have like a fighting advantage if you have the position, and they can't obviously jump over all of them. So yeah, you should look for pick, and if you don't find pick instantly, then we just back off, because we don't want to fight if we don't have. And now we get the Drake, and the game is actually just over. There's 0 ways to lose this game. You have to run it down to lose. You just have to do the same thing over and over again. Every single Drake we do the same thing. And if we can get, if we die for a flash on the Taliyah or the Ezreal, that's fine. Before the Drake. If we can take a fight before the Drake where we can burn a flash of one of the targets and maybe Rakan dies or something, that's fine. Because then that target is just dead in the next fight. So it's obviously important that you think about summoners this game as well. Very, very important. Because we do the same thing on every single Drake that you just did now, and you actually cannot lose. It's so unlosable. Just gonna speedrun it a bit. I think the rest is kind of irrelevant. I think you're just gonna do what I just said as well. And yeah, we shouldn't aim to go Baron. We don't have to. Enemy has to go Baron. Walking up for tier 1. No, I think Tab is our best here. The reason I think Tab is our best is because mercs don't matter this game. Like, first of all, you don't care if you get stunned. If they use all their spells on you, that's good. Second of all, the only threats are GP and Ezreal, so Tabbies are better this game. Yeah, and as I said, like, if you can't fight before the Drake, you should. If you can force something, like, of course we don't want to like overcommit and start like flipping every fight, but if you can force a flash on Ezreal or Taliyah or GP, we should. Because that means that they don't have it for the Drake, and that's what we play for. We play for the Drake this game. After you get the first or the second Drake, I mean, you should always aim to fight for that. Okay, Albatross, right? Albi. That's his name now. A little bit of grief, but yeah. I mean, you are tanky, you know. You reach the point where you just can't die anymore. You're immovable, and this is the main reason why you just auto win the game now. Like you can frontline everything, you can tank everything, and still not die. Why does he have Sonias? Can you explain to me why Taliyah has Sonias? He doesn't like damage, or what? And he has to Sonias. Rakan, maybe? Pacifist build. Yes, the Sonias rekindled. Like, he actually doesn't like damage. Yeah, and we shouldn't overcommit for fight, as I said, right? We should just try to see if we can burn summoners until every Drake. If we can burn summoners and not overcommit ever, we win. Because Flashless guy will be dead in Drake fight. Yeah, and now you actually lose Baron. That's very Pepega. That's very bad, of course. Because now they actually have a reason. Or not a reason, but a way to win. Bruh. He's just walking up on tier 1 alone. Killed Nash. Walks in. Hits mid tier 1 alone. Okay. I mean, now he's no flash. That is really big. Siri burning flash on GP as well, right? He flashed. Yeah, he flashed. This makes it a lot easier inside as well. Because if we can stop, like, after we've gave them the Nash, if we can stop them from using the Nash for anything else than a Drake, that's fine. Then it's completely fine. And you did, so I will just go to next Drake a little bit. Like, we know that Israel doesn't have flash, and we can play around that GP as well. Can just play around that. Okay. Ornn with no follow-up. Come on, random. Okay, nice Q, nice Q. Very good Q. Guys, this is very good Q. He's zoning. Enemy can't walk past. Very good Q. Same with Ori Ball. Same way. And now they get tower for free. Because of that Q. This is professional play. This is LVP. This is Spanish League. You are first place, no? First place or second place? I think you are first place, but I'm not sure. First or second place? First place with Hatrixx. Alright. Oh yeah, you lost the game to them because of random GP. Right? It was random GP. I did watch that game. I'm not gonna comment on it too much. Just gonna say random GP. Yeah, I mean, the game might look in a bad state, right? Like, when you look at it from this point of view, it looks in like suboptimal state, I guess you can say, but it's in a completely fine state. Every single flash we burn on enemy is a window for the next Drake. And we just have to play defensive. And this is very hard for some players to do. Some teams to do as well. Understanding of how to play defensive. I'm not sure if Riftmaker is better to upgrade here than Shieldbow. I don't remember. I just want to check. This is like not a huge thing, but I still want to check. Just for myself. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty bad, you know? It's pretty bad. Especially compared to Nashor's. Or not Nashor's, but Riftmaker. So I would upgrade Riftmaker here. Regardless of it being Siri. Because I think your Gwen is still strong. I would upgrade here. Unironically, I would upgrade Shield Bow and Gwen. Because your Jinx has been playing like a big noob, you know? And he isn't strong, so like upgrading him last is most likely gonna be the best thing here. So I think, of course, it's important to think about like upgrades and what items are best, but it's better to think about who will make a difference, because Siri having that item will change in side lane. It will help a little bit, you know. It won't make like gigantic difference, but it will help a little bit. And your jungler is strong here. I mean, that doesn't matter. You can be a professional player and still play like big noob, you know? That's still possible. No one is perfect. No one is playing extremely well every game. You can have bad games. You can play bad. That is possible. And people, like, if you flame pro player, I've seen this as well, like, all the Bison's players, like, have gotten hate DMs. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting, like that behavior. I can't believe you're actually like allowed to do that. Or like not get perma banned from the site or anything, like so filthy. Because you lose money. Okay, and they decide to start Drake for fun. When they actually have like they don't even have like good setup on it. Decide to start like Nash for fun, but I guess it makes some sort of sense. Like you're eventually gonna lose the game, so trying to like bait it out is somewhat fine, but you just gift the game, you know. Like the only way that Bisons can lose this game is if enemy gets Nash again, and they can use this for Soul and Elder and being just stronger and slapping with Wallet. But yeah, you are not really in that spot at all, so they just give you the game, and now it's for sure over. Because yeah, there's not anything like gigantic other than your itemization, I think, in that you did bad. You did really well setting up CS, and more of it is mainly like team than it is you. Like I think you play lane really well, but I also think enemy played really bad. Like not just him as well, but the entire team in terms of what they did.